I I've got no time for it. I have no time for it at all. People make mistakes. People make mistakes when they're drunk. People are brought up differently. They have different viewpoints. They're told different viewpoints. They live in a different surrounding compared to everyone else. Um, doesn't mean they're right. Does not mean that what Phil Anselmo did was right. I don't believe it was right at all. I think it's disgusting what he did. But where what gives anybody else the right to stop him from ever redeeming himself?
Let's move on to I guess we'll call it the bonus round, because
Nah.
I'm not even sure if I'll probably release this, but fuck it, we got to cover it because you brought up social media several times, and I need to basically go over, and I might do this with a few people, essentially the pros and cons of social media, sort of the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially in the last few years, especially in relation to music, especially in relation to the metal scene. And I mean, you and I both, we have been outspoken quite publicly on elements of cancel culture making its way into essentially where it doesn't belong. I mean, I don't think it belongs anywhere, but especially when it comes to, say, like when you discuss things like Pantera, for example. Apparently it's verboten to even mention anything to do with Philip Anselmo. Now, I know we were talking about Pantera earlier in the DTC's cover, Strength Beyond Strength. I don't know, you've actually defended basically, why cancel Pantera? Why is it suddenly forbidden to listen to Pantera? I mean, it even got to the point where Philip Anselmo and the Illegals, his little project, they had a tour booked in New Zealand, and that basically just got canceled just because, he just does one stupid drunken stunt with a Nazi salute and shouts white power. But I remember you were mentioning since then, I mean, he sobered up and cleaned up his act, but there's kind of no road to redemption after something like that.
Yeah,
What's your take on it?
I'm you already know my take. Um, I I've got no time for it. I have no time for it at all. People make mistakes. People make mistakes when they're drunk. People are brought up differently. They have different viewpoints. They're told different viewpoints. They live in a different surrounding compared to everyone else. Um, doesn't mean they're right. Does not mean that what Phil Anselmo did was right. I don't believe it was right at all. I think it's disgusting what he did. But where what gives anybody else the right to stop him from ever redeeming himself and allowing him on the path of redemption, when if one analogy would be, say if he'd done something that was a criminal offence and he went to prison for 5 years, and then when he came out and then society accepted him because he paid his dues, is that okay? Is that what he needs to do to then, like, where is the mark that he has to reach for people to accept him again, or anyone in those sort of situations? With him especially, it was obviously it's a big name. He's the singer of one of the biggest metal bands of all time, who came out and did something very, very fucking stupid drunkenly, and then with how social media is, it got whipped up into a fucking frenzy. Other people got involved and jumped on the back of that, for their own personal gain and attention.
And it wasn't just that; it was there was another time that Pantera especially got caught under fire because I think some of their old merch had like the Confederate flag logo. Of course, this was coming at a time when nobody threw a shit fit about the Civil War.
Well, it wasn't again, it wasn't an issue. But times change. You can't hold things that have happened in the past to today's standards. You can't. It's not fair. It's not fair to do that, because you can't go back and change it. And you also can't, if something's happened in the past, at that point you can't go, well, hang on a minute, what if this happens in the future? You're gonna live your life full of anxiety for the rest of it, going, oh, I can't say this, I can't do that, because what if in 10 years time it's wrong to do that? It's so that there's bigger fish to fry in the world. There really is bigger fish to fry in the world. And I would have thought that COVID would have settled people down and made them a bit more humble, but it hasn't. But not everyone, obviously not everyone. There's a few a certain group of people, not in our circle or anything like that, but just online, certain people, and they enjoy the drama. They've got nothing else going on. Maybe they should pick up the drums. They should start fucking get off of fucking social media and the drums. You know, fucking I'm gonna need a drummer soon. So there you go.
Yeah, because the reason I mentioned that as well, because I mean, Phil Anselmo is quite up there in terms of, I guess, status, and I suppose if you want to say legendary status. So if it can come for him, it can come for anyone. I mean, at the time we're talking, there's a massive sort of media frenzy over Marilyn Manson at the moment. I don't want to comment on that specifically, but my concern is this trickles down and creates even more divides within sort of the music scene, especially when we get out of lockdown as well. And it's just the politicization of everything, the politicization of culture. And well, since music is a part of culture, I mean, I hope we don't come out of this divided just because of shit that was said or done on Facebook or Twitter, which
we will
incredibly carried out in the real world. You think we will?
We will. We're going to, and it's going that way. And I've been saying for a year now. Well, about 10 months, because the first couple of months of lockdown were all right. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, let's go out," and I'm not taking the mick in any way, shape, or form. We'll be careful how I say this. Everyone's like going, "Oh yeah, we should do this. We'll all help each other out, go shopping, and clap for the NHS and all that." It was all nice, It was all. Yeah. No one was at each other's throats. No one was kicking off. You get the odd idiot talking about 5G, but that was it. Just like fucking 5G idiots, blah blah. And then it just all went berserk. People just started getting, understandably, they were getting more frustrated with being indoors. People were questioning why they're having to be indoors, blah 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 blah. And it's just constant divide, divisiveness for the sake of divisiveness. If someone's got a different opinion than you, that's fine. That's okay. That isn't a problem. There's loads of people that don't agree with any of my views on certain subjects. I don't like eating runner beans, but someone else might like eating runner beans. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. That's how stupid it is, because we're talking about disagreeing on doesn't impact our personal lives whatsoever. It doesn't. It's nothing to do with us. What's going on, even across the pond. Obviously, me and you have spoken many times about what's happened with in America with Trump and all the rest of it. And people get involved in things, in talking points that, not that they shouldn't be involved, but they come at it at the wrong angle. They come in at attack straight away, instead of saying, well, this is what I think about this. I can see why this happened because X, Y, Z. And then when they've got nothing to say back, they go, okay, you're cancelled now. It's the equivalent of this. When you used to have an argument with your mate at school, and they go, oh, blah blah blah, yeah, well, I think you did this, whatever, and then the other kid's going like that, la 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 la. The equivalent of that. Yeah. That's the time that we live in, but it's a lot more hostile because they're going la la la, fuck you, I'm going to report you, I'm going to make you lose all your Facebook and all your photos and all your friends. That's what people are doing to each other. It's disgusting. It's horrible over absolute non-issues.
Yeah. I mean, I have a rule
in the grand scheme. I mean, they are issues. Don't get me wrong, there are issues, but they're not worth destroying another person's life over because they don't completely agree with you. If they're being a cunt online and they're kicking off at you, just ignore them, just delete them. Yeah. I mean, I fell into that trap. I got into arguments with loads of people online last year, and it just got to a point like, what's the point? There's no point in doing this anymore.
I'm guilty of this too, and it gets to a point where it just becomes overkill. And now I'm at the point where, look, if it's not happening outside my door, I just don't care.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how I've got to now. My main thing is that, right, I don't care what anyone else has to say on certain subjects, because it makes no difference to my life anyway. If I see it on Facebook, I ignore it. If I don't agree with it, I ignore it. It's like, okay, well, you're entitled to your own opinion, but it's the nastiness. It's when people are nasty and they make certain things about them, and they're nasty, and then other people then jump on board. They become nasty, and they think that's the proper way to act in certain situations, and then that's what causes divisiveness. There's a lot of people that I've sort of fallen out with in the last year over nothing.
Yeah.
Literally over nothing. And it's just like, well, okay, fine.
This is one of the consequences of locking people down for sure. More nefarious, and I'm not going to drop any names, but the fact is that even certain popular sort of like metal zines, like internet magazines dedicated to sort of like heavy music, have gotten in on this bandwagon, and it's not doing anyone any favors. It's not doing consumers favors. It's not doing bands favors. It's not even doing any sort of upstarts any favors by, you know, just basically trying to score temporary win points over nothing.
It's a product. It's a symptom of the problem. It's a product of what's going on at the moment, because everyone's fucking stuck indoors. There's no gigs to talk about. There's no new music really to talk about. On the other side of that, they weren't really doing much of that reporting anyway. Like you and me both know that. It's whatever's going on with Tommy Vext or Marilyn Manson or something like that. You know, that's what takes. That's the main focus, and it's what generates clicks, likes, and money. And at the moment, music, well, metal music isn't making anybody any money at the moment. So these companies need to survive, which I understand. I understand they want to post about that, but there's a consequence to that, because people start having their opinions formed by certain things that are brought up and how they're spoken about, how other people react. And then you're sitting there as a third party just reading through everything. And then you're starting to base your opinions on what people are talking about, not what is going on with the actual issue. They go, well, that person thinks that, like, okay, well, this person from this band or from this group of people, they think this way, so I must think this way as well. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I'm going to be attacked for it. It's a consequence. I've said it for a year, mate. Consequence of action.